the Six Screens Network, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hardcore facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, the end is near.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to another rockin' awesome Saturday night up here in New England, the apostate capital of the world. And tonight, we've got some stories on the news. The Norwegian press, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're suing Norway. In the circuit assemblies, they're going to be starting up in January. And of course, the new elders letter, they want to bring very young teens, in fact, even preteens, into working microphones and being like mini ministerial servants. And we also have to say that the golden age of the Jehovah's Witnesses back in the 1990s, that's gone. That's gone. And one other thing, too, I wanted to mention here tonight, we'll go into it a little bit, but I don't know if you heard it or not, but there's tens of thousands of Jehovah's Witness African brothers and sisters that are giving up on the Watchtower. They're starting to find out all of the bad things on racism that the Watchtower talked about years ago. Many are leaving, tens of thousands from what we understand. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to the Six Screens of the Watchtower. This is JW World News. My name is Rick Fearon, and I'm coming to you from right outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And you know what we call it up here? We call it the apostate capital of the world. We have got a whole lot of apostates up here. I'm not sure why, but I know when I lived in Florida back in the mid-80s, mid-90s, a circuit overseer came around and he said one of the toughest nuts to crack is up there in New England, to get people to become Jehovah's Witnesses, and especially the young ones. So I think that might be it. I just don't know what it is, but we do have a lot of apostates, so we're in good company. Well, I hope you're doing good. Boy, winter's coming pretty quick, huh? Snowing in some parts of the country, maybe even where you are. It's not too bad here. It's about 32 degrees right now. It could snow if it rained. But anyways, I'm glad you came in tonight. My goodness, it's amazing to me how many new people are coming in. We just had the program Returning to Light with Chad, and he had about 3 new people come in. We're seeing an unusual amount of people coming in for the first time here on the Six Screens. And you say, well, why is that? Rick, what's going on? Well, I have to tell you, they are hemorrhaging. The Watchtower is hemorrhaging people. And these are just the ones that are mustering up the courage. How many people are listening in? How many PMOs out there are there? You know, those still going to the meetings, physically in, but mentally out. How many of those are there out there? I'm sure there are plenty. Well, I have to say, we got a number of stories to talk about tonight. We're going to have a good time here, so sit back and relax. And I know you'll enjoy the program. We got some interesting things we're going to be talking about. And I got a package in the mail, like a Christmas package this week. And I opened it up, and there it was, apostate cookies. So we're going to be talking about the Apostate Cookie Club. Well, we got the originators of that coming on. I'll surprise you. They're coming on at about 8:30. So we're going to be talking about the Apostate Cookie Club. And let me tell you something. They were the best cookies I ever had. And I'm going to show them to you guys tonight, right out of the box, the Apostate Cookie. So we'll be talking about that around 8:30 tonight. So by all means, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. I mean, you're going to turn the news on TV. You're going to see nothing but commercials. Here you are paying hundreds of dollars for your cable bill, and they're shoving all these commercials down your throat. There's no commercials here. We have no commercials. You can listen in live. It's interactive. You can be part of the program. Why wouldn't you want to listen in? Really, think about it. So stay with us, please. You'll find it interesting. And why don't you become part of the program? Why don't you call in tonight, become part of the program? I'd love to have you do that. And if you do, we might even have a little special gift for you. So go ahead and try to call in tonight. If you can be a new caller, we would really like it. Well, anyways, there's a lot of witnesses that are pretty upset. If I was one, I would be too. They are now going back to the circuit assemblies. Did you like going to those circuit assemblies? Well, they're going to restart in January, this coming year, just another month away, not even that. And they're going to start having their conventions. Well, they're assemblies. They usually have like an assembly hall where they meet. But I wanted to bring up, and it's very important, I want to discuss this with the audience, that I'm getting reports coming in here to the 6 screens that evidently a number of assembly halls have been sold off. Also, some of them are in pretty bad shape. They need a lot of repairs. As a matter of fact, one up here in the Northeast, they have their assembly coming up in January, but they've already been told they can't meet there because it needs so many repairs. So I'm just thinking out loud more than anything, and I'm saying, well, what happened? For 2 years, there was no assemblies, so the assembly halls sat dormant. Many kingdom halls sat dormant. They weren't even, some of them needed maintenance for 2 years. You let your building go. If you're living in a house and you don't do anything to it for 2 years, you don't mow the grass, you don't paint it, you don't clean the windows or whatever you'd have to do, it's going to look like crap after a couple of years. Well, that's exactly what's going on in the world of the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're assembly halls. They're in rough shape. They need necessary maintenance. Yes, and they're even canceling some assemblies at certain assembly halls because of that, and they're making them go to another assembly hall further away or to some other meeting place. It could be another hour or two away. But that's not the main issue. The reason why I'm bringing this up tonight, because I'm thinking something is not adding up in JW world. Now, it never did add up in JW world, but I'm just scratching my head and thinking something seriously wrong here. You have buildings that are owned by the Watchtower organization that are in a state of significant neglect. Yeah, and they have been for some time. And the thing is, there was no proper maintenance on these buildings while nobody was meeting in them for 2 years, where the witnesses weren't meeting because they were meeting on Zoom. So now what you have is a classic case of what we would call here deferred maintenance. Yeah, no maintenance. Deferred maintenance is what's going on. In fact, I'll tell you, the last time I heard that term, deferred maintenance, is, if you guys might not remember it, but back in the 1980s, the New York subway systems were just horrible. They were in terrible condition. Trains were being stuck. People couldn't get to their destinations. And of course, the officials came in and said, deferred maintenance. You've got to keep the subway system up. That's the exact thing that's happening here with Jehovah's Witness facilities. Many of these Jehovah's Witness facilities, well, you know how meticulous the witnesses used to be. Geez, I can remember my former wife, she'd be over at the assembly hall in Plant City, and she'd be polishing the brass on the rails. I mean, that's how meticulous they used to be. But the organization evidently is not that meticulous anymore. And this news comes to me by a number of people who have sent me information that their assembly hall is in terrible shape. The kingdom halls are in terrible shape. Now, I don't want to tell you that the Watchtower is poor, but that's generally, if you drive by a house and you see it in very bad shape, you see it needs siding, it needs paint, it needs hot top sealer. Generally, the household is sad to say is in financial trouble. So I'm just thinking, could that be what's going on? Now, what we do here at the 6 screens, and what you folks have all got to do as well, we got to be like the CIA. You hear me bring that up all the time here on the program, right? Now, what does the CIA do? What they look for is they look for intelligence, and then they report that to the powers to be. You have to pick up little signals. So I'm picking up a little signal here that could be monumental. It could be telling us more than we even know. Would it be confident to say that the Watchtower is in financial trouble? I don't know, but I'm beginning to really think that they're in more dire straits than they're letting on. And then also, I got some information that came into me this week from a Kingdom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky. And well, I'll tell you what, the meetings have been on hold for quite a while now, even after COVID, because of rampant mold. The Kingdom Hall is filled with mold. And this is not the only one I've been hearing from. I got a number of reports from Kingdom Halls pretty much around America that they can't go to the meetings because of the mold problems. And then also, since COVID, there's been a number of Kingdom Halls that have been shut down, not even opened up. So what is that all about? And these Kingdom Halls, they need repaired too, but nothing's being done. It's kind of weird. It really is. I mean,
I'm thinking maybe it's dwindling membership too.
Well, Pixie, it could be a number of things, and that's why I'm thinking, and I'm going to go far down the financial rabbit hole. I'm going down the financial rabbit hole, and we will soon pay the price. But to see exactly what happens, and I'm going to see and actually say here that the witnesses are going to be in more financial trouble. Now, not just the Watchtower itself, but even the poor rank and file, because they're still trying to build Ramapo. So here they want to build Ramapo, but they got all their other properties falling apart. Well, the organization
They got billions up there at the lake, but the rank and file may be lacking the strong members, because I think a lot of the people that, in any club or organization, it's always a certain percentage that always show up to do the mopping.
Oh, that's right. I'm sure you did it, Pixie. I did it. Bring your broom, bring your mop.
Even if it's PTA or whatever the club is, it's always a certain amount of people that are the consistent, helpful members.
Oh, you're right, Pixie. You're right. Yes.
And a lot of those people, I think they've left.
Yeah, well, they have been leaving. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was going to say with COVID and, nobody going to Kingdom Halls, these people they're sitting at home. They got a computer. Finally, they did a little research on this organization. And I think that's what's happened mostly.
Well, that's a good.
It's a cult, and that's what it is. So.
Well, yeah, yes, go ahead, Chewy.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier in the week, and I kind of want to add to it a little bit. It was really kind of interesting. I saw my wife, and she was preparing for a part, and it caught my attention because she's still in. She's starting to see some signs, but she's still in. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I said, this is, a week before you just got back from the meeting, and here you are, you're studying again." And she says, "Oh, they give me another part." And I said, "Well, you had another part last month, and you're doing another one?" What's that tell me? They don't have enough sisters. They don't have enough sisters to take care of the parts now. And then the other thing, I talked with her a little bit today, and they had two car groups that went out. One car group of brothers, one car group of sisters. Just two car groups. When I was going, there was a dozen, 10, easy. Got two. They were filled up. But I said, "Oh yeah, who went out?" I couldn't go too far because I'm trying to be like the CIA, right? I'm trying to do undercover, right?
Yeah.
And she said, "No young ones. They were all, I knew them all. They'd been there for 20 or 30 years. Nobody that was young was there. It was all just elderly, not elderly people, but people had been there a while." And then she went on a study last night, and I was like, "Wow, you're going on a study?" And I said, "How'd your study go when she got back?" I said, "Who'd they study with?" And it's a sister that's been an unbaptized publisher for 20 years.
Whoa.
So I mean, that's where they're going at. That's where they're going at. And I saw a sister in the grocery store just now. and I hadn't seen her in a while. My wife knows her, and I said, I hadn't seen her in a while, and I said, how's your meeting attendance going? We talked there a little bit. I just didn't bring it up. I said, oh yeah, how's the meeting attendance? She said, oh, it's about 40 to 50%. She said, did you see the latest governing body update? They were telling them to get back. Hopefully they'll get back. We don't know their situation. So this thing's changing. It's going to be 2023 is going to be very interesting for us.
Oh, it is.
And just like the guy said on here last week, we graduated from JW. I love that expression. We graduated. That's a good expression. I love that.
Yeah.
We're not apostates. We just moved on. Anyway, that's all I got for right now.
Well, I got also what you got me thinking, Chewy. It reminds me of last week. We talked about a woman that I got information from, and she said to me that she had a friend that's inactive. She was inactive for a year, and the elder called her up and said, could you give a talk? Now, inactive people usually don't give talks. She didn't report time for over a year. She hasn't been in the Kingdom Hall for over a year. And they called her up. I want to know if she'll give a talk. How bad are things getting?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's worse than me.
Yeah.
They're having my publisher. That's worse than me having the elders putting me up on the bulletin or the information board for 7 years, going out and serving as a publisher.
Yeah.
I didn't even hit one door.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Oh, there you go. Well, no, Chewy, that's what's going on, folks. But that Chewy is right on spot. Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I thought I heard a lady on there. You want to go, sister? You on, mothers? Go ahead. I thought I heard a woman on there, but don't you worry. Things are changing, as Chewy said. It's changing. There, his wife, just gave a talk a little while ago. Now all of a sudden you got another one. So they don't, they really are playing games here. They really, really are. And just concerning these assembly halls and kingdom halls that are in much disrepair, you really would think that they would have fixed those while there was nobody meeting in them. The brothers had 2 years to do it. They have all this free volunteer help. Something doesn't pass the smell test. There's something going on. And like I said to Chewy, we're like the CIA. I'm trying to pick up little bits of information, little bits of intelligence that can kind of let us know. But, there's one thing, too, I will say that it's interesting how, well, during COVID, we know the Jehovah's Witness organization, they told people, this is it. A lot of people really, it was like 1975. They really thought that Armageddon's here, COVID's coming. It's one of those pestilence of epic proportion. This is it. Armageddon's right around the corner. So maybe what a lot of the elders and even construction workers for the Watchtower, people at the local design committee and what have you, maybe they just figured, well, why even bother? Armageddon's so close now. Just let it go. We won't have to worry about fixing anything up. We can do it on the other side. Maybe that's how some thought. And, I'll tell you what, there's even one thought that I got from a man, and he used to go out and service a lot. And he really was concerned that now that he's seeing all of these kingdom halls closed down, he was thinking that, are they doing it on purpose? Are they going to sell them off? So these are things we're wondering. Go ahead, you're on with us. All right. Yes. Go ahead, Susan, first, and we'll go with the man. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, okay. Just real quick. I think the Watchtower has the money. I think they're just used to taking in and never dishing out. So they don't want to take their savings. Like their stock portfolio is huge. All they need to do is sell a couple shares of stock, and they could take care of mold problems. And because they offered to buy all those kingdom halls, they took on all those mortgages, telling the brothers, "Oh, we'll take your mortgages and we'll pay them, and you just turn over the deed." Well, at the time, it sounded like a good idea, but not so much now. So they own their kingdom halls. They kind of stole them from underneath the congregations. And I think they do have the money. I think they just choose not to spend their money.
Well, that's more than likely too, Susan. Now the thing is, I don't know if you guys got on JW.org this week or not, but I wanted to pull up a video. At the same time, you have all of these kingdom halls with mold problems. You've got assembly halls in really disrepair. You've got maintenance that has to be done in so many Jehovah's Witness facilities. But I was watching JW.org this week, and who's on there but Tony Morris, and he's talking about how many more kingdom halls they're going to be needing. I don't know if you heard it, but I'm going to play you the clip. Who'd like to take a shot? If you saw the clip, don't say for sure, but how many kingdom halls does your Jehovah's Witnesses want to build in the coming years? Take a guess. Anyone want to take a guess?
In what country is that?
Around the world, Pixie. Take a guess. Tony Morris, how many kingdom halls do witnesses want to build in coming years? Just pick a number, anything. You don't have to do a scientific mathematical study on it. Just pick a number. All right. So we'll play the clip and then you'll see. But I have
a number.
Go ahead.
I have a number like 15,000.
Well, you cheated. You cheated, didn't you, Christine?
Well, let me say this. I watched something recently that I don't know where, and it was somehow brought out. I don't remember where I saw it. But
that's okay.
I had a point to make if I could make.
Of course. Of course. Go ahead.
So, I've only been out about 4 or 5 years, and when I look at the pattern that we had going all the years, 45 years I was in the organization, there was a pattern. And the pattern was that when a hall needed maintenance, they would bring it before the congregation, and they would definitely have a brother assigned to ask tradesmen, which many brothers in the organization were tradesmen. My ex was an electrician. And basically, they were all pretty much willing to volunteer to do some maintenance. I'm not talking about cleaning. I'm talking about lighting and electrical and painting, whatever trade a brother had, he would step up. And that was a typical pattern. Now, we're not going to have that now. We've got the, inflation going on. People aren't able to give as much or even donate materials. They would do that too. So the organization had a great financial windfall because they had free labor, free tradesmen, anytime they could keep the halls up. But now I think they want people to go back to the hall. Now this might be kind of, maybe I'm just, trying to think about why, but I think because they want to get the tradesmen back into the halls, looking at the halls and saying, oh, I better help out with this, or maybe I should help out with that. And they know that the brothers are generous. They've always been generous. My ex was generous with his trade, helping out at Assembly Hall, Kingdom Hall. And so I think, now, I'm not sure, but it just seems logical that they want the congregation back in the hall. And they want the people to treat the Kingdom Hall like it's their home, and maintenance would be something they would do if they had a trade. So there's my thought.
Well, it's a good thought.
I don't know for sure.
It's a good thought, Christine. No, in fact, I thought of the same thing too. Maybe why a lot of these Kingdom Halls and Assembly Halls are in disrepair is because they can't get the people to come and work like they were. A lot of people have got out of the organization. So now they're talking about building. In fact, you'll hear him, 15,000 more Kingdom Halls. That's how many more they want to build. I'm going to play the clip, and I couldn't believe it.
And I have one more point.
Yeah.
So when you talk about housing and people that are in the real estate world, they flip houses. So a good way to flip the Kingdom Hall is to get the people back in, fix it up, get them maintained well, sell them for top dollar, and then start out and buy new property and build new Kingdom Halls, because that's what flippers do, or people that are in real estate. Anyway, that's my thought.
Well, it's a good thought, and it's my thought too, exactly it. we're gonna play I'm gonna play this clip for you right now. Just give me a second here. Let me just get it up to where we should be. Minute and 40. Let's see. I'm gonna bring it up a minute and 46 in. So hold on one second. Let me bring it up. And I want you to hear. This is Tony Tight Pants Morris. Now listen to what he has to say. Let me just make sure I got the right clip. Okay. Well, listen to what he has to say about building a Kingdom Hall.
It's also encouraging to hear that the local design construction work is moving ahead. Where there are no government restrictions, Kingdom Hall construction groups have restarted. What theocratic construction is on the horizon? We now need over 15,700 new Kingdom Halls and major renovations around the world. We need these Kingdom Halls for our in-person meetings. To begin addressing these needs, over 1,600 projects worldwide are planned for this year alone. And branches are also working hard to prepare facilities for in-person circuit assemblies and theocratic schools starting in January 2023. Can you make yourself available to help with theocratic construction? Ask your congregation elders for more information. It's wonderful to see young people assisting with the work. Think of the training they're receiving now that they'll be able to use during the great rebuilding work after Armageddon. Well,
I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, is that disgusting or what? But I mean, that's exactly what confuses me. Here you have on one hand, we're talking about Kingdom Halls that are really in disrepair and they need a lot of work. And now we're also talking here about building another 15,000 Kingdom Halls, and there's 1,000 projects they're taking on next year. I don't know if I believe all of this. I really don't. I don't know if this is to make it sound like the organization is moving forward, but how can it? Really, folks, I mean, just be serious. How can
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just trying to get more money for his whiskey bill, Whiskey Morris.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well,
he's trying to gather people, send in more money for Kingdom Halls, and it goes to him going to Bottle King and buying a bunch of Macallan like he did Sunday morning on 11:30 a.m. So
yeah. Well, I mean,
point.
Well, the point thank you. The point would be here, friends, is just not adding up. You have Kingdom Halls that are shut down because they can't meet in them because there's too much mold. You've got
I could add a point, Rick, if you wanted.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a story, and I actually personally know Anthony Morris. About 21 years ago, I was a pioneer, and I went to pioneer school. He was not a governing body member yet. There were two people, a district overseer and a circuit overseer, and the district overseer was Tony Morris. He told a story that was very inappropriate about a man who cheated on his wife, basically opened up the Bible and did it anyways. And he judged us all in front of it. And I thought that was weird for me because it's like we're here to be so-called preachers. But to go on, after I got to know him, I was engaged to be married. So I was done pioneering basically after that. And I was new into auto body and I did some work on his car. And it's just, I'm just trying to add that, like, it's expected. Like, he didn't tip me, he didn't give me anything. Like, I did free work for him, and he wanted more than what I gave him. And it just shows the attitude that they have towards the men or women with trades. They'll use you up, and it doesn't mean anything to them. And I just thought I'd add that.
Well, thank you for sharing that, brother. That's amazing you say that, because I feel the same way. Geez, all these people give the hard-earned they take time off of work to go and work on a Kingdom Hall or Assembly Hall. The same thing down in Ramapo. They want people to take months off and go there, losing money, and they really don't even give you a pat on the back, like you say. It's not fair.
Not really. It's expected.
It's expected. So
it's like, yeah, okay, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it's unreal. So
I have real concern.
Hold on. Pixie, hold on.
I just wanted to say before I go that I'm new to your channel and that you have an amazing channel, and keep up the good work, Rick. And thank you so much. My name is Eric, and I really appreciate all the work that you all do.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Eric.
We have to keep exposing them, and thank you.
All right. Picture, now go ahead. Now you can come in. He just wanted to say some more. Yeah.
I want to know more about the African story, because my concern is always that they don't have a sufficient kingdom hall or a well and a nurse's station and school to go with it. I've often wondered about the many countries in Africa and what the real story is.
All right. Well, let me tell you what the real story is. We can go to that story. But I just wanted to mention, before we go to that story, I just want to mention what Christine was saying. She's pretty good. She ought to be working for the FBI. She's pretty good at this stuff. I told her before she should have been working for the IRS as well. But she's pretty good at, sniffing things out. And I think she has it. They want to build all of these new kingdom halls. Here they have halls already in disrepair, as we say. They need all kinds of maintenance. So they want to build 15,000 new kingdom halls. They're going to flip them. And they'll try to get these ones that are in ill repair, so to speak. They'll try to get those straightened out and flip them too. That's how they're making their money. So that's interesting. But I'm going to switch now.
Hello, Rick.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Rick. It's Steve here. I just wanted to make one final comment on that clip that you played.
Yeah.
I've actually said this before, but if you listen to words are really important. And if you listen to the words, he breaks it up into two groups. He gives the specific number, and then he says straight away, new kingdom halls. And then the next bit is the important bit, and major renovations. So for all we know, they might only need 100 kingdom halls and then 14,900 major renovations. I know locally where I live, I was just talking to a witness who still goes to the meetings, and they said, "Oh, have you heard? We're having a major renovation on our kingdom hall." So a lot of these kingdom halls, as we already know, because of COVID and people not going to the meetings, they fell into disrepair. The majority of what he said may be doing up the kingdom halls that are already there to make them nice and new so that they can flip them again. It's very interesting. They're very clever with words. You have to listen to every single word, because every word that they say has been scripted and been carefully put together.
Well, Steve, you're 100% right, and that's exactly what they do, Steve. And by the way, well, I get you on here too next week. If you can come on Sunday, like we talked about, that would be wonderful. You think you can do it Sunday 2:00 next week?
Yeah.
All right. We got you booked in. Thank you, Steve. That's Steve from the United Kingdom. But just to get,
hey, Rick, this is Michael.
Michael, how are you?
Good, Rick. How you doing?
I'm good.
I just wanted to mention. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. By the way, I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you coming on.
About the building. One of the reasons why they get people, and I'm going to take you back when I was 20 years old and I received my first union card. When we got our union card, they told us we'd served our apprenticeship in the masonry, and we were expected to work on churches or to work on buildings. They kind of told us that under the table, that look, church calls you, you get this card, you're kind of expected to do that. So I think the witnesses took advantage of that, but now we flip up. Now I'm 70 years old now, okay, and I had a huge construction business, but I packed it all in, and the reason I packed it all in is because I couldn't get enough qualified help to do the work that way I wanted to do it. And if they're talking about 15,000 halls, I couldn't build 1,500. I couldn't build 15 buildings right here, right now, with the help I got here in Ohio. So, I mean, it's almost like impossible.
Yeah, it doesn't sound feasible. It doesn't. That statement by Morris does not sound feasible. It doesn't, especially with all the people leaving the organization. They're hemorrhaging. Why do they need new halls?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
and I also want just real quick to all the witnesses are listening. It's important to tell your testimony. I came on your show. I didn't know if it would do any good or not. You couldn't believe the response I got from other people that knew me, other witnesses that actually listened but didn't say anything to you on the radio show. It caused a lot of stir. And if each witness just keeps on telling his story on your station, that's going to make a huge impact.
Well, I know your story was really impactful itself, and I want to thank you for coming on, Michael. Well, thank you, Mike, for calling in tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Rick. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, now that's Michael, and we certainly like Michael speaking up. He has so much to always offer. Now, the thing is, the Watchtower wants to build 15,000 kingdom halls. I don't see it. I mean, unless I'm looking through rose-colored glasses here of some type. But let me just put that in perspective. As you just heard, Michael, he's a construction guy. He's a very talented musician as well. But, he had a big construction company. And, to build 15,000 kingdom halls in a time where everyone's having a hard time even getting people to come to work, I think that's a pipe dream. But I don't understand it. But they're just trying to make it sound like this is a growing organization, and it's not. But how many times, I want to talk to you about this. How many times have we heard that, the brothers and sisters in Africa, they need kingdom halls, and we got to build, the brothers and sisters are coming in like unbelievable in Africa. Well, that's not the truth anymore. As a matter of fact, I had some information that a man gave me today. And I'm glad he did, because I want to bring it up here tonight on the news. The Watchtower's older teachings on racism. It's waking tens of thousands of Jehovah's Witness Africans up. Yes, the internet, we've said, is the great equalizer. And they're finding out, they've tried to get rid of all these old books, but they found out what the Watchtower, how they felt about poor black people back 100 years ago. And it's terrible what they said. I hate to even read what they said in some of their watchtowers. But in one of the watchtowers, I'll read this for you. This is from a 1904 watchtower. It says, despite the official end of slavery in America in 1865, the 1800s were a time of significant, this is right from the Watchtower. It says here that during the 1800s were a time of significant prejudice and inequality against African Americans. It was during this time that religions such as the Watchtower Society were formed. This influenced early views and teachings regarding black people and mixed races. For example, it was explained in 1904 Watchtower that in the new system, now you listen to this, if you don't want to talk about a racial statement, in the new system, the skin of black people would turn white. Well, that is a complete falsehood. And for the Watchtower even to put that in writing, but it's there, and now a lot of the African brothers and sisters are seeing it. And according to the information I got, and the information I got from this man in Nigeria, and he said they're leaving by tens of thousands. They don't want to be Jehovah's Witnesses. And there's a lot in there. There's a lot on racism in the Watchtower. So, so they're talking about building 15,000 kingdom halls. It's not going to be in Africa. It's not going to be in America either. I don't see it. Where are they going to build the halls? In Europe? Are you kidding me? In Europe, it's even worse than it is everywhere else. No one wants to be a Jehovah's Witness in Europe anymore, especially the UK. But this Tony Morris comes on lying through his teeth. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I really, really can't. So anyways,
Hey, Rick.
yeah.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, you're on. Well, let's go ahead.
Yeah, I remember back in the mid 80s, a lot of black Jehovah's Witnesses were mad because the elders were telling us that we couldn't have jerry curls, the sisters couldn't have cornrows, and it caused a lot of problems in the congregations because they felt they were being discriminated against for their hair, So, they was even telling us that we couldn't go out in field service if we had jerry curls or cornrows or dreadlocks, and it just caused a lot of black witnesses to just up and leave.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I never thought about that. I never really did. But they didn't realize they did that. But they're pretty restrictive on so many things. But right now, we're not talking hundreds, we're not talking thousands, we're talking tens of thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses leaving in Africa. That's good news. That is very good news. So that's amazing. So where are they going to be building these kingdom halls? I don't know. I don't know where they're going to build them. All right. So let's go back. We'll go back here. We got a lot more to talk about here tonight on JW World News. That's the news the Watchtower doesn't want you talking about. But there's a letter announcements. I get these announcements, and I read a portion of this letter last week, but I'm just gonna bring it up again tonight because of what's going on right now in the organization. They're talking about building 15,000 kingdom halls, but they can't even get the elders. They don't even have enough people to go around and give talks, as you just heard Chewy saying. So now what they're doing, I got this letter from, well, he's an insider at the Watchtower. He goes by the name Atlantis, and he sends me these letters that they send to the elders. And so the latest elder letter, in fact, I want to read you part of it because I think you'll find it very, very fascinating. Let me just see if I have the letter right here. In fact, announcements and reminders. All right, just listen to this for a second. Announcement and reminders, December 2022. For elders, helping young brothers to make spiritual progress. Now, this is an organization that's telling you they're going to build 15,000 kingdom halls, and they're having a hard time even getting elders. So it's saying help young brothers to make spiritual progress. Thank you for your efforts to give priority to the training of spiritually qualified young brothers in your congregation. When considering with brothers to use for handling certain responsibilities in the congregation, such as carrying or adjusting microphones, operating sound and video equipment, or assisting with literature, do not overlook young, exemplary, baptized brothers who are not yet serving as ministerial servants. If a baptized brother is in his early teens or even younger, well, let's see now. I'm thinking early teens. Well, that'd be 13. That'd be 14. But the letter here is saying even younger. So, I'm thinking 10-year-old, 11-year-old brother giving assignments to these young kids. My goodness sakes. So if a baptized brother is in his early teens or even younger and is exemplary in his personal study habits, is commenting regularly at meetings, and is having a regular share in field service, he may be given assignments in the congregation that are appropriate for his age and circumstances. When young brothers are given assignments in the congregation, they can be tested as to fitness to shoulder responsibility and may qualify as ministerial servants when they reach their late teens. Now, you tell me there is an organization right there that is in dire straits. They need more elders. So let's get them young. Let's get them early. What do you think, Pixie?
It's okay for them to carry a microphone, like in the Catholic Church, they have a young altar boy or something. But what happens is they start thinking that they're grown men when they're 9 and 10. I had a situation like this, and his mother finally, we got into it in the supermarket, and his mother disciplined him. These young boys, if they're too young and they come to think that they're men, they start telling Sister Auntie what to do. And they start telling their mother what to do. And it becomes a kind of sexism at a young age unless the mother slaps him into next week.
I get what you're saying, and I like it. I really do. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. There's a lot of other avenues we can go down too, but that's one of them. And, they're looking for these really young guys. I'm even saying, I'm not saying it, the letter's saying it could be 10 years old, 11 years old. See, it's because these young men, they want to do things. When I was a young guy in the witness world, when I was 10, 11, I would have loved it. I used to like to work at the Assemblies and, give the drinks out and collect the tickets and all of that. I used to love doing that. Well, what little kid wouldn't? So basically what you do is you capture this little guy at a young age, and you capture him and you bring him into the elder ecosystem. See, so it's much harder for him to escape now. Oh, that's the whole thing. Once they got you in, it's like you're in prison. It's very hard to leave. So now he's in the elder ecosystem, and he's not going to leave. He's going to stay right there. He's going to be pruned. He'll be a ministerial servant in his late teens, and in his early 20s, he'll be an elder. That's what they're doing. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they call it grooming.
Yeah, you could call it grooming. It is. It's taking advantage of a young little guy. It really is. It's taking advantage, and you're really playing the little kid, really. And the kid really is put in a. I like what Pixie just said. Maybe the mother's got to give him a few slaps across the face and smarten him up. Don't do it. You're too young to get involved with it. Oh, I'll tell you. So anyways, do you know what the big story this week was? I mean, I saved it for kind of right now. But the biggest buzz this week, and I searched the internet all week long looking for the biggest stories, and I want to thank everyone, too, that sends news stories to me. My phone is clicking all day long and emailing, and I've got people writing in from all over the world and telling me what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower, and I want to thank everyone that does that. It's like a news clearinghouse here at the Six Screens. But I did want to say the biggest story this week, and I'm sure you guys have all heard about it. As a matter of fact, there's a big spread, a double page, a 2-page spread in the Norwegian newspaper. And just a couple of days ago, they reported in the Norwegian press, Jehovah's Witnesses to take on the government. Now, what are they doing to take on the government? Well, what they're doing to take it on the government, first of all, let me just bring you up to speed, but I think most of you guys have heard about it, but I'm going to bring you up to speed with what's going on in Norway. Norway, a European country, in fact, I didn't realize it, but Norway is one of the most atheistic countries in the world. I did not know that. But anyways, they allow churches to exist, religions to exist in their country, even though they're very secular and non-religious. They do allow for Jehovah's Witnesses and Catholics and other religious groups. Now, what Norway does, as well as Europe, what they do is they actually pay these religious groups money for how many people they have. And so they give them a certain amount of money. In the case of Norway, the witnesses were getting, I believe, was $130 per person. Yeah, $130 per person per year. And the government would just cut a check and give it to the witnesses. And this has been going on for years and years and years. And every year, the Jehovah's Witnesses would take their money. And just to give you an idea how much money that would be, well, it was about almost $2 million, almost 2 million with an M, almost $2 million. So that's a good chunk of change. So anyways, because the Jehovah's Witnesses they just fellowship people and shun them, the Norwegian government did not like that. No, they don't. No, you can't do that, especially when it comes to young ones. And they got a number of reports from young Jehovah's Witnesses under the age of 18 that were rebuked, chastised, disfellowshipped, and the rest of the congregation had nothing to do with them. And we know how that works. Norway was ticked off. They did not like it. In fact, Norway called an exclusion of members. Well, it's like disfellowshipping, as we would say, but they said that they don't like the exclusion of members and how they're severely suppressed. So anyways, Watchtower is concerned because Norway said they're not going to give the Watchtower any more money. They cut it off for 2022. They said, no, you're not going to get paid. And not only that, we're not even going to let you be registered as a religion for 2023. Now, I said it right. The Watchtower was told by the Norwegian government that they weren't even going to be allowed to be registered as a religion. This, ticked the Jehovah's Witness organization off. This is pretty serious because this could spread. I'm sure that's what the governing body's concerned with. And I'm going to play you a clip again by Tony Morris. But anyways, they're so concerned that they're going to perhaps lose their religious registration for 2023 and not get any more money from Norway, that they actually hired an outside legal department, not even the Watchtower legal department. They hired an outside Norwegian lawyers to actually work on trying to keep them in their religious status in Norway and trying to get the Norwegian government to rethink what they've done. But they're not going to do it. Norway is very fastly adhered to staying where they are. They're not going to move. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses are really concerned. Not only are they going to lose money, not only are they going to be removed as a registered religion, but let me just tell you what that means. So you lose the status of a registered religion. What the witnesses, and they even highlight it in this lawyer's letter that I've been reading here all day long and trying to decipher it. So anyways, in the Watchtower, well, the letter written to the Norwegian government by the Watchtower lawyers, they're working for the Watchtower, what they said is it's going to create a problem for Jehovah's Witness marriages. See, there's a number, I forget how many Jehovah's Witnesses there are in Norway. I'm sorry, I should have the number in front of me, but I don't. But anyways, what it's concerning the Jehovah's Witnesses is elders will no longer, if they're not a registered religion, they won't be able to officiate a wedding. So that means that Jehovah's Witnesses won't be able to be married in a kingdom hall, I guess you could say. So this is really making the Watchtower mad and angry because there's a bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, think about it. They already have their wedding plans for 2023. And it looks like that how they're going to handle, they'll have to go to a justice of the peace, I guess. But anyways, that's ticking the witnesses off. But I'm going to play you, I want to play a video. And this is right on the update, right off of jw.org. And I'm going to play you this video because I'm going to tell you something. Tony Morris here is not telling the truth. Now, I've caught the governing body members in so many lies, it's pathetic. But this is a good lie. Of course, he doesn't tell the Jehovah's Witnesses. Listen, well, let me play the clip, then we'll discuss it. But I want you to hear it. I want to get your thoughts on it. So let me just move the clip up here. It starts at about 3 minutes in. And you'll find this very, very interesting. I did. And Tony Morris, I'll tell you, he doesn't look healthy. He really does. In fact, I'll tell you what, he looks like he's half on the bag right there. So I'm going to go 3 minutes ahead, and then I can play this little clip. So let me just get up to there. Just a little hard finding. Okay, we're right about there. So let me, it keeps moving. All right, 255. So let's play this clip. You'll hear, this is Tony Morris. Let me share this with you folks. Let me just make sure I can do this here. Let me get into my SoundCloud and get the clip up. Just give me a second. Yeah, so this is Morris, and he is going to be talking about what's going on in Norway, but he's not telling the truth. He's not telling the truth at all. So let's listen in to Tony Morris, governing body update. And here we go right now. Let's play it.
They'll be able to use during the great rebuilding work.
Just give it a second or two.
Armageddon. We have another exciting update regarding freedom of worship. As Jesus foretold at Matthew 10:22, we face much opposition. Jesus said, "And you will be hated by all people on account of my name." To assist Jehovah's people, we have recently established the Freedom of Worship Office at the Central Europe branch. This headquarters department will coordinate our efforts to defend our worship in Europe. Now, you might be wondering, the work has been established throughout Europe for many years, so is this really needed? Yes, it is. For example, recently the government of Norway decided that Jehovah's Witnesses would no longer receive certain state benefits that are provided to all registered religions. Here to explain more about this is Brother Jørgen Pedersen.
We were shocked when we received a letter from government authorities in Oslo, Norway, threatening to remove our registration as a religious community. Jehovah's Witnesses have been actively preaching the good news in Norway for more than 120 years. In fact, Jehovah's Witnesses suffered for their faith under the Nazi occupation of Norway during World War II. Commenting on how Jehovah's Witnesses were the only religious group who stood firm against the Nazis, a previous minister for religion exclaimed, "People throughout the country should know about this. Especially young ones would benefit from this information." We've always been known as good citizens. In fact, a public report stated that Jehovah's Witnesses are careful to obey the laws of the land. Now they've suspended our grants, while there are over 700 religious communities who continue to receive such state benefits. This decision is unconstitutional and an unprecedented attack on religious freedom in Norway. With the assistance of the newly established Freedom of Worship Office, we're pursuing legal remedies. At the same time, we're pursuing dialogue with government officials, and we pray that this situation will be amicably resolved.
Thank you, Brother Pedersen. The authorities in Norway have threatened to remove our legal registration because of our scriptural beliefs and practices regarding disfellowshipping. In the future, various governments will challenge our freedom of worship. They may pressure us to change our scriptural beliefs, but we're certainly not going to do that. As Brother Pedersen mentioned, efforts are being made to address this issue. In the meantime, please make it a matter of prayer.
Well, there you have it on that. Now, that's very disgusting to me. So that's Tony Morris, governing body member. Now, here's what I noticed, and you guys probably noticed some things as well. But, he did not say the word money. He called it state benefits. Then the other brother that came on, he called it grants, government grants. It's just be honest. It's money losing $2 million. And, many Jehovah's Witnesses don't even know that the witnesses get money in Europe. For every Jehovah's Witness they have, the organization gets paid. And in Europe, at least in Norway, it was $130 a head. But, they never were told that. I never knew it when I was a witness. I thought that all of the donations came from the hardworking brothers and sisters. No, they're coming from the country. But anyways, the point hold on, Pixie. Let me just finish my story here, then we can talk about it. Then I'll let you come in. But let me just, so I don't lose my train of thought. So what you have here is you have Morris coming on. The real reason, like I told you guys before, the reason why they're having the funds taken away from them is because of the shunning policies. Morris does not mention shunning, but he mentions disfellowshipping. And he says, we're not going to change from that. But why doesn't he come out and tell them the truth? Just tell the truth to all the witnesses that, this practice that you all do, shunning people, is going to cost us a lot of money. No, he doesn't say that at all. He's skirting the issue. So I thought it was a little bit, sins of omission is what I would call it. Pixie, what do you have to say?
Well, he did mention disfellowshipping, and the national character of the people of Norway and Denmark, they have some of the oldest laws in Europe. The Norwegians fought the Nazis in the snow. They cannot abide a bully. And they may not like you on your street in Norway, but they'll put up with you. They have a high tax structure, but they want everyone taken care of. So underneath the Norwegian character is this idea that everyone is treated fairly. And I can see where this is a real affront to the history of that nation.
I know it's a real problem for the history of Jehovah's Witnesses, because the
Norwegian people would not put up with someone being bullied in the face of religion. They just wouldn't.
Well, that's why they're not putting up with it, and they're closing in on them.
That's it.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Christy. That's good. Well,
Whoa.
all right, let's go. We got 2 or 3 more callers coming in. Just go ahead. One of the young men, go ahead. Come on in. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to point out that Jesus said you would be persecuted for righteousness' sake, for doing what is right by the government authorities. There's nothing right about treating as if they don't exist, treating them as if they were worse than dogs, lower than dogs, basically. That whole thing was just disingenuous. They're not being quote unquote persecuted, as he puts it, because of disfellowshipping. If you have to, it's one thing to remove someone from your organization because they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing in there, but that doesn't mean you have to treat them as if they're subhuman, which is exactly what they do. They give people who question them, who merely question them, worse treatment than they give pedophiles or even murderers. I remember watching a video from Jason Zelda back in the day where he read a letter that was sent to a congregation back in the 1990s about someone who had confessed to killing several people, and they did not tell them to report it to the authorities. So it just goes to show you the utterly twisted priorities of this organization. And they're utterly enormous victim complex. They're basically saying, oh, we're being persecuted because we're not allowed to treat people like crap.
Yeah, in essence, well, brother, that's a very good. Hold on, Christian. That's a very good comment that you made, brother. That's a good comment. That's a wonderful. Thank you for speaking up and saying that. Okay, Christine, go ahead. You're next.
Just to add to his point, they go so far as to insult the government by accusing them of persecution because they're not sending them $1 million something every year. What an insult. I mean, they've been generous with the JWs for many years and getting millions of dollars. And then they turn around and insult the government and say, you're persecuting us because you're not giving us that money. So just to add to his point. Thank you.
Well, good point, Christine. In fact, I'll tell you, over the years, they probably got over 40 million, 50 million. In fact, I think the figure is even close to 100 million. So, cheers.
Hey, Rick.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Rick, just real quick. This is Gilbert. And what offends me is Jehovah is now officially on welfare. He lost his EBT card, and he's mad. As a man, as a male who has a job, who works, I am highly offended that Jehovah, the God of Watchtower, is on a welfare program, and he's going to hire lawyers to make sure he gets his money when he just can't make it on his own. What an embarrassment it is. And I'm not trying to joke around. But it is funny, but it's an embarrassment.
It is an embarrassment. And you know something? I'm so glad to see the Watchtower put in a corner like this. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. And then you're right. They get this worldly lawyer firm that's coming in. And I got the letter right in front of me. I'm not going to read it all. It's many pages long, but I extracted a few points that I just wanted to say. So the lawyers are writing Norway and saying, could you just delay your implementation of the witnesses losing their registration? And could you just delay or hold on to the money until we can get a further information on it? But Norway's already made their mind up. You're not going to have them move their decision. So the lawyers are doing everything they can. And like I said earlier, they're asking if they can really just delay this and just please. I mean, how many times, if you were ever disfellowshipped, and, Brother Fearon, you are disfellowship. Oh, please, no, please, can we delay it? Can we just get more fun? No, there's no delay. You're done. You're cooked. I'm glad. No, they're now met their match, and there's going to be more countries following suit. All right, you're on with us. Who wants to say hello? Go ahead.
Hey,
Yep. Go ahead.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it's under Article 19 of the United Nations for a organization to shun members, and it is a rule with the United Nations. And Whiskey Morris and this other clown are trying to just buffalo people and say this is undue and everything else to, keep things going and keep money coming in.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. But all of a sudden now, I'm going to tell you something. It's not just apostates picking on the witnesses. We got governments now. Governments are bringing down the hammer on this evil organization.
And that's good, Rick.
Oh yeah. I mean, we can only do so much, but government's got more power. They can do a lot. They can really hurt them right in the pocketbook. So it's all good.
They set their funds off and take their tax exemption from them. So,
well, it's all good. Well, thank you very much, Jeff, for coming in. Appreciate it. All right. So, anyways, you're on JW World News. You got something to say?
Yeah, Mr. Fearon?
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call again. Well, these clowns, at the Watchtower Society, just like you said a minute ago and all that, if it was the small guy at the bottom being kicked out of the organization and so forth, and he wanted to, negotiate a little bit and talk, oh, no, we're going by God's law. God's law said that this is the way we're going to do it, so we're going to put you out, and we are protected by the laws of the land and so forth. Well, right now, they're finding out that the shoe is on the other foot and that they're violating the laws of the land. They're violating people's civil rights and their human rights, putting themselves above the laws of the land, putting themselves above the laws of God. And so they're caught with their hands in their cookie jar. And, oh, boy, they're crying just like little babies and so forth. Well, that's just too bad, isn't it? And everything like that. For many years and so forth, the people at the bottom have been crying as well, and nobody's been hearing it. Well, it's just about time that the shoe got put on the other foot, and it's about time that the Watchtower Society can start getting a dish of their own medicine.
Oh, well, that's a gold star comment. Very, very good, Ken. No, I like that. Yeah, put the shoe on the other foot. They're not going to cut you any slack. I don't know how many times you've heard people come on this program in the last 16 years that, it really bothered them to get this fellowship. They pleaded, please, can you stop it? Can we reverse it? Nope, they don't do it. So there you go. Good comment.
I heard that they made Norway really angry because they lied, saying they didn't shun. And Norway, that made Norway mad because Norway says, look, we have your elders book.
Yeah, Randy, you're absolutely right. And, you don't play with Norway. And Pixie was just talking about them, too. They're a very secular country. Now, if they were, a religious, more of like, say, maybe like, I'm thinking of a country that's very, very religious, maybe like Ireland, for example, all right, in Catholicism. Maybe they'd have a better shot there. But Norway is a secular country. It's one of the more atheistic countries in the world. So they're not going to put up with this religious foolishness. They're not. They're just going to say, that's it, done, cooked. Good. Thank you, Randy. Thank you.
I just wanted to make one more comment if this is okay.
Sure.
For all this talk that this is a sign of being persecuted by Satan and, how governments are always talked about as if they're agents of Satan. I find it hard to believe that agents of Satan are standing up for people who are being bullied while an organization that has God's backing is advocating for that type of psychological abuse.
Yeah, isn't it something?
That's it.
Oh, well, that's a good comment, too. These are all good comments we're hearing, but I'll tell you what, it tickles me pink. It tickles me pink to see a government, and it's not just Norway, it's Sweden, it's Belgium, it's France, It's Denmark. Of course, Russia. I mean, they totally banned the Jehovah's Witnesses. So how many countries are you going to have trouble with before your adherents start saying, geez, what's going on with us? Of course, they're going to, say it's persecution. But, if they could just do a little research, and if you're an active witness listening into this program tonight, to do some research, just punch in Norwegian government and Jehovah's Witnesses. There'll be 25 things that come up. You can read it right from the Norwegian paper. You can translate it and see it. We're not making this stuff up. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's so, I feel good. I really feel so good to see this all taking place, because I'll tell you what, after 16 years of doing this program every Saturday night, I have to tell you the last year has been the best. It has been the best because we are getting points up on the scoreboard. The Apostates is starting to get some points, and I like that, and you do too. And why are we glad? Because this organization has hurt so many people. I don't have a soft spot from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet for this organization. I want to see them gone. I have too many friends that have really been hurt by this organization, and we got to keep it up. We got to keep pushing forward. All right, boy, I'll tell you what, I get excited because I'm happy. I'm very happy to see the organization starting to crumble. And all of this idea of building 15,000 new kingdom halls and building this Ramapo, I don't know if this is a big con job or not. They'll probably pull that Ramapo off. But at the same time, they're going to get all the money they can from people, and then they could care less about the rank and file. They'll go online. They'll do streaming service. And I'm not sure they're going to come out smelling like a rose. I don't know. They got such a tarnished image, you can't put lipstick on a pig. Yes.
Hey, Rick. Yeah, I agree with you. Isn't it kind of sickening to look back and to see this covertness, how they act, with their attorneys? I didn't know they were getting paid when I was in there for being a witness. I didn't know they were getting millions of dollars. My uncle, he basically cornered me and says, where do we get our money? It's all coming from, just people giving from their hearts. But they were getting money from so many things, building projects, kingdom halls and so on and so forth. But man, when I look back now and I look at these people and the manipulation, the way they talk, every word is measured. Every word is weighed. I just freak out.
Hold on one second, Dan. I'm just gonna mute some people. We got a lot of people coming in here tonight. Let me just mute some people here so we don't get a bunch of muffled sound. Okay, I think we got that straight away. You're back with us, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Rick. I just finished it up. I was thinking, I didn't mean to go back on the kingdom halls, but that really disturbed me too. That they needed 15,000 new kingdom halls, and they needed 1,500 immediately. They said ASAP. But what bugged me was watching Tony Morris learn his speech. He sounds like a dry drunk. A dry drunk is a person, even when they haven't drunk for years, they still kind of talk like that. And then the other thing was the smoke and mirrors that he did. When he was talking about this chariot, Rick, you can smell bullshit a mile away. This was garbage. He was going, our chariot, it's moving up and down and sideways and left and right. You better keep your eyes on us. Isn't that disgusting, Rick, to think we were a part of that? I mean, we're going up, we're going down, we're going backwards, we're going all around. That's how Jehovah's chariot moves. Jehovah's organization is on the move. BS. It's going out of business. The reason we're on here, Rick, isn't because we're attacking their truth. We're attacking their lies. We're on here attacking lies. These guys are liars. These guys are users. They're manipulators. We have all been used. We've all been duped. We've all been made false promises. We've all invested our whole life, every penny, every ounce of energy we had in this organization. We're older now. You know what I mean? And they continue to lie. That's why we're on here, because they continue to lie. They lie and they lie again and they lie again and they lie again, and they will not repent. And I know I say that and everybody laughs, but you think at some point they would turn around, but they don't have any intention, Rick. They have no intention. They're going to get their money any way they can get it. if the people are mind controlled enough to build 15,000 new kingdom halls, they'll take that. They're going to get whatever they can out of them, like slave owners. Anyway, that's it, Rick.
Well,
Hey,
that's a month.
Dan, they destroyed your family, man. You know, I know your story. You're a good friend of mine. You're a dear friend of mine, and yeah, that Watchtower destroyed your family. It's horrible what they did to you, and your brothers don't talk to you, and it's
okay.
just
you know what?
I love you, man, and it's terrible, but
you know what, though, Jeff? I never took a victim role, and that's what's beautiful about this show. Nobody.
No, you haven't. You haven't. It took you a long time for you to tell me all this, but I'll tell you what. Also, I like what Rick says: putting lipstick on a pig, and that's what Watchtower is a pig, and putting lipstick on it, and that's well said. But I feel for you. Feel for you, Dan.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Jeff. Well, no, that's go ahead, Chewy. Let's hear what you got to say, Chewy.
Well, I just had a phone call in between my last chime in, and there's a brother down in Texas who's ex-Bethelite like I am, and he said they're doing an assembly. He just happened to call me today, and he called me back, and they're doing an assembly December the 31st in San Antonio, Texas, and he said the society is sending down their film crew to film it. He used to be in the French. They've shut down all the foreign languages except for Spanish. He lives in Austin, and he's going down to San Antonio. They're going to do the pilot assembly December the 31st, and that's probably what you're going to see streamed. Well, we'll see how that goes. And he said the same thing. He said the elders are all out there trying to get the people back to running about 40%. And he's in English. He's in English now. Been in English for about a year. And he said they got 180 people that's supposed to be there, and they got less than 80 showing up for the meeting. So,
well, let me ask you a question, Chewy. I mean, in viewing what we've talked about here tonight, do you see that the Jehovah's Witness organization needs to build 15,000 kingdom halls?
No way at all. They need to sell 15,000 so they can pay the bill.
Yes, that's why it's like, I think we have someone coming in from Montreal, Canada. I think that's Annie. Hello, Annie.
Hi. Yes, it is Annie. I just wanted to put in my 2 cents worth. I find it ironic and crazy, and I don't know whatever other adjective I should use about the Kingdom Halls. They're just like, in the last couple of years, with so many people leaving, all we see is images of empty Kingdom Halls. Nobody's going. Then they had the COVID excuse, no meetings and everything. And then all of a sudden they want 15,000 Kingdom. I believe it's another one of their, I guess you could call it a real estate scam. I think they're just going to, if it were to happen, which I doubt, but if it were to happen, they're just going to use them for real estate sales, to make money. That's the way I see it. And and also about Norway, first of all, I give them kudos. And also, as you know, I'm from Germany, and I'm fairly frequently in touch with one of my friends in Germany, and she was never a JW, but we talk about it once in a while. And she's already, even though she never knew anything about, she was never a JW, but she tells me, oh yeah, there's a lot of programs on the news about what they're all about, what they're up to, and I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Germany also would do something similar to Norway and other European countries. So that's all I wanted to say, really.
Well, Annie, we're always glad to hear from you. Thank you very much for calling in tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I love your show. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you, Annie. All righty. Well, there you go. My goodness. Well, I tell you what, I mean, it's really unbelievable. And we're so glad to see the Watchtower in the position that they are. Friends, I don't know how much longer this organization can go on. I've always said the monkey died, the circus is over. Really, I don't know how much longer this organization can pull this stuff off and get away with it. People are smarting up. They're getting on the internet. They're finding things out. They're Googling, they're researching, they're doing everything they possibly can. And there's so many people listening in right now all over the world. And they're saying, you know, I don't know about this guy, Fearon, and the rest of these people calling in, but check some of this stuff out. If you have any feelings that what we're saying is incorrect, punch it into Google. Punch it into Google and see for yourself what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Oh, my goodness. I just want to see if we got Joe and Fran. Is Joe and Fran on the line here tonight? You guys on tonight? Well, they're going to be coming on here very, very shortly. We're going to get them on because I want to talk about the Apostate cookies that they sent me. And we'll talk about that in just a short while. Oh, my goodness.
So delicious. You know, I was looking at pictures of the governing body speaking the other day, and they're starting to contradict each other in their official statements.
Well, what's that a sign of, Pixie? I mean, you're a pretty intelligent woman. You could work for the CIA. What's that?
I just feel compassion. I don't feel hatred toward them, but they all look rather gluttonous. They don't seem humble. They're not getting their stories straight. They've got our names written in the book of life in pencil, and I think more and more people will be leaving because not even just the abuse and the blood doctrine, but these men are not meant to be leaders.
They don't fit the role, do they? I feel the same way.
No.
They really, really don't. There's not one of them that I can warm up to. Now, not just because I'm an apostate of the Watchtower, but there isn't one of them that I can really warm up to and say, geez, that guy's a good speaker. He articulates well. He's got charisma. Not one of them has that, Pixie.
Models of health, they all look gluttonous. We know Tony's got a drinking problem, but the rest of them look like they're overeating. They don't look like they're walking down by the lake to be well for their age. I don't see how the rank and file can feel like they're led by them.
Well, you know what's happening, Pixie? I think a lot of people are leaving because they're finding out who their governing body members are. When we were in the 90s and the early 2000s, you know, we didn't know who the governing body was. We didn't know what they look like. But now, I mean, they're right front and center. People are seeing them on JW Broadcasting and going, whoa, that's the faithful and discreet slave. It's not going over well. It's not.
No, because in the old days, some of those old goats, at least they were spiritual men. They might have not been photogenic, but some of them really believed with a kind of humble reverence. These guys, they seem kind of sarcastic, and I don't know. I don't see how anyone could be following them.
I feel the same way. And that's why that's one reason why I think there's more and more people that are leaving because of them. They're getting to see the governing body up front. I mean, we didn't do that.
I didn't include them in my top 10 because my top 10 was the abuse of the children, the abuse of women, the lack of education, the blood doctrine, the extorting money from older people, and so on. But they're like, that's like an extra problem now.
I don't think they're going to be able to work their way out of it. I really don't see how they're going to be able to do it. They're not. Everyone has got them nailed. Everyone knows what's going on with them. I mean, there's still some diehard witnesses, but I mean, I'd like to, if I went to a Kingdom Hall today, I would be more than willing to say that 50% in that Kingdom Hall are PMOs. They don't believe it. They're just going in a perfunctory fashion just so they don't get hung up in the disfellowshipping problems. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick?
Yeah. Let's go with Susan. Yeah.
Oh, I was just thinking, I think if you walked up to any member in a congregation and asked them, why are you one of Jehovah's Witnesses? I think they'd hesitate. I don't think remember we were like, whoa, because you're serving Jehovah, whoa, this, whoa, that. They're just confused people. And I think a lot of them would leave if it wasn't for their family members that would, not want to talk to them after their disfellowship.
So what would you say, Susan, is the main reason why people won't leave?
Because they're such an insular community, and when young people get married, they marry other Jehovah's Witnesses, and so around and around they go. So everyone eventually in the let's say circuit, Kingdom Hall circuits and so forth, associated Kingdom Halls, they're all married to each other. So now you've just got a whole bunch of family members that are all Jehovah's Witnesses. So how can you leave that insular community? I mean, if you leave, you're done. You have nowhere to go, no one to talk to, no friends, no family, nothing. I think they're there because they have to be, because they'd be shunned if they weren't.
Hello. Hi, this is Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Thank you, Susan, by the way. Hello, Joe. So you're with us here tonight.
Hi.
So I'm glad, Susan, I want to say that was a great comment, by the way. So, Joe, you're on here with us, you and Fran, yeah? Yeah.
Thank you. And I do want to say I also appreciate, Susan, your comment and just a little input on that. Insight, our in-laws are all Jehovah's Witnesses. My son-in-law, all his family, our other son and his in-laws, all Jehovah's Witnesses. Daughter-in-law. They're massively tied in. Now, so if any one of them steps out, they're all born in. First off, they're all born in. They lose what they believe to be everything, at least everything of whom they've developed contact with. But I maintain that in every group, there are people that establish and distinguish themselves as individual. And they're ones that prove to be like the leader in that respect. It's just a question as to who it's going to be and when it's going to happen. We were kind of a little late to the party, so to speak, and I think there are others that are going to be later to the party. But I think they're going to come to the party. It's just I think they're going to have to go through more drama, more earthquakes in their life, earthquake in their witness life.
Well, there's going to be a lot at the party, Joe and Fran. And I have to say, I got kind of a party attitude this week because you guys sent me a box in the mail. I'm showing it up here on YouTube right now. And I got this box. I got this box in the mail from Fran and Joe. And, well, they call it Apostate cookies. Now, I'll tell you what, these Apostate cookies are really, really good. I'm gonna show one up. I'm gonna put it right up here on the screen so you can see it. Now, I got thinking. I'm thinking, well, why would they call these Apostate cookies? Well, it's around Christmas time, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I see these little sprinkles. Can you see them? I'll put it very close. That's the cookie right there. And I'll tell you, these are the most delicious cookies I've ever had. I'm going to take a little bite here right now so you can see it. No, they're really good. They're filled with figs and dates. You have never had a cookie like this. You really, really haven't. It's got a nice frosting on it. It's nice and soft. My wife Susan and I, we've been eating them, and we're going, my goodness, those are really good cookies. They're actually saleable. But you guys came up with it. So tell us about the Apostate cookies.
Actually, it was Joe's idea because we wanted to make the word apostate. We wanted to make it friendly because it's got such a negative connotation. So we thought, well, yes, it's Christmas time. And actually, these cookies, for anyone that's Italian, they are called cucciadate. It's a date cookie. They go way back. My mother made them. I'm 70 years old. The recipe is old. But yes, they have dates and figs and raisins and honey and citrus and walnuts and chocolate, all kinds of things. And thank you, Rick. We're not trying to promote. This is not an infomercial.
Actually, they're very successful sellers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, my mother sold a lot of them in her day. Now my brother. Yeah.
How many pounds?
Oh, I don't know. He made a bunch.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. In fact, as I'm eating on this now, I'll tell you what I like in it. I now I identified that taste. It's a taste of citrus. Yeah, I can taste that.
Yes.
That's what I'm tasting. I like that. Yes, I do like that.
Well,
yes.
It's a classy apostate cookie. No, honest, in all fairness, I truly wanted to do something in our area that reflects a different view of the word apostate. We're going to do everything we can to show that we're humans and that there are other friends who are exes or out, and that they're humans and they're worthy of being treated in a humane way as well. Because we're doing everything we can to expose the harmfulness of shunning.
Well, so now what would you like to? We've got a bunch of people writing in here. A bunch of people writing in. They say they'd love to buy some of these cookies. I showed them on the screen. So how is this all going to work? How can people join the Apostate Cookie Club?
That's right. Well, generally they have to see. We had a club before. It was called Health Now for You Club, and it was a food club. We, Fran and the family, the rest of the family at the time, as well as I, we basically taught and demoed different health type food preparation, and then we made the food available. And it was pretty successful. People liked the foods. And we thought we could do the same thing with the cookies. Have like a different cookie every week, have a cookie tasting time, and a time for gathering too, and just discussing what's going on in the community as far as not only the witnesses, but everything else.
How can they buy them?
Well,
that's the question.
Well, they're writing in here that they really think it's a great idea. They really like the idea in a cookie club.
Well, the shipping is probably they do have those flat rate boxes. I was considering that way it's one price no matter if you live in Hawaii or Puerto Rico. I don't know. We'll take ideas, but if anybody's interested, they can get in touch with us.
They're not an inexpensive cookie, I will say that. If you look at specialty cookies at any bakery, they're up there with the best of them.
Well,
we're not trying to push them. We're really not.
Well, I understand it, but I have to tell you something. This cookie has so much filling in it. There's figs, there's dates, as you say, and walnuts. And it's like meaty. It's like biting into a good piece of steak. I mean it. It's amazing to me. Yeah.
No, truly it is. No, seriously, Rick. If you want to give our phone number, and if anybody wants to call us, more than happy to let them know.
All right. So I don't want to speak with my mouthful, but write me at JW. Write me at JW.
That's a good commercial.
Yeah. Write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. jwworldnews@gmail.com. And we'll put you in touch with Joe and Fran, and maybe you can get you a box of Apostate cookies. Really, really good.
Or frankly, if anybody's close or they want to make a trip, we're more than happy to treat them right.
There you go.
And if you have a favorite cookie, not everybody likes figs.
Yeah.
If you like peanut butter cookies or your typical, we can do those too.
Yeah, there's all sorts of other things that we do.
Fran?
Yes.
Do they have a lot of sugar in them? I know the dates and all that. They have a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're
if you're,
not a
if you have to,
diabetic
yeah,
cookie.
you have to watch your sugar. You
Yeah,
can't, you know, they have honey and the dried. They do have a lot of sugar,
They
unfortunately.
really do.
Well,
But we
that's
can make
really
it
good. I need some of the sugar.
if
I
you-
am diabetic, but earlier my sugar crashed. I mean, to the point I couldn't even stand up. But it would be great to have those right by the, you know, right by my chair where I can reach over and bring my blood sugar up. So, it's
an emergency.
It's a diabetic crash refresher.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, do
Let us
let us know. Please, anyone who wants to contact us, please do. For nothing else, even if it's just to say hello and make some contact.
Oh, by the way, we from Rick's program, we met a very wonderful, loving sister from Massachusetts, and we've had a wonderful conversation, a couple conversations with her if she's listening. And we hooked her up with another ex-sister out in California because I thought that they had so much in common. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do networking. And I think Rick's going to have us on the program again, continuation of that Watchtower, the suicide in the Watchtower, and what we can do, what we can actually, some practical things we can do
in
to
our
help
own
each
area.
other.
Everyone in their own area, there's always something you can do to be active in your own way. I just received a little button machine. We're going to make up buttons that basically say XJW or other things similar, just to stimulate some conversation in public when we're out in public.
Yeah, if anybody has any ideas for a button, they're like a good sized button.
2.5 inches.
2.5 inches. We haven't started them yet, but we got all the materials. So we're into a lot of different things, but it's fun. And we like to include others.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's really amazing. And, you know, there was even a man that came out with some stickers. And boy, he's been moving a lot of these stickers that people are sticking all over the place, telephone poles and all kinds of places. They're sticking these stickers about Jehovah's Witnesses. But you guys got some really good ideas, and no matter how we get the message out, it's good. And even I just got thinking as I'm eating this cookie, I'm thinking, you know, like the Chinese fortune cookies, they have their little sayings and maybe one of the cookies of the month you guys could do is, you know, something with good thoughts from JW Facts on there, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So many things we could do. Well, we got Joe and Fran on with us. Who'd like to talk to Joe and Fran? You want to talk to Joe and Fran? What do you think of the cookies? I mean, you guys couldn't taste them, but I'll tell you, they're really good. So these guys have been coming on. They're regular. They're going to be coming on in about 2 or 3 weeks. They got a program coming in. They had a program about suicide in the Watchtower, and a lot of people listen to that program on YouTube. It's really good. So they're out of New York, and they got some really good, innovative ideas. You want to say hello to Fran and Joe? Go ahead. You're on with us.
Hey, can I make one more comment?
Okay.
Hello.
Yep.
You know, when people leave the Mormons, they are called apostates also. And so that might be another market. Plus, they eat really healthy and they don't drink caffeine and things like that. So that sounds like, even though it's got maybe a lot of sugar in it, it sounds like a really healthy cookie, you know.
It really is. It's a super. I mean, if you want to think of any kind of a fruit type cookie bar, it's the best. It really is the best.
They also last, because I think we sent those to Rick 2 weeks ago, Rick. Yeah. And
well, they're just as fresh.
So they last.
They're just as fresh as they were when you sent them to me, Fran. I tell you, it was amazing because, you know, I'm not really a sweet eating guy. I don't eat a lot of sweets, but somehow I found that very palatable. And I think what did it was that citrus. I think the citrus has got me. It's really good. Yeah.
It's an adult cookie. It's a super quality, high quality cookie. My grandmother would make like at least 24 different kinds of cookies every holiday. Fran's mother, the same thing. It was just a common thing.
Well,
and then this frankly is what is probably the premier cookie of them all. It really is.
Yeah, we'll be getting to sound like the shopping network here. But I'll tell you, there's so many. There's so many people that have been commenting. Go ahead. You're on with Fran and Joe. What do you want to say? Go ahead. You're on with us.
This is Christine. I just wanted to say hi, Fran and Joe, and thank you very much for your participation in our program. You bring a lot of heartwarming feelings and kindness, and it's very wonderful to have you. I am going to call you. I have your number. I have you on my plans to call you. But I did want to bring up a point about possibly somebody that's very talented with technology. If they could set up a website, now I don't know if they would call it xjws.org, but something along the line. I know we have FACTS, we have JW Facts, or is it XJW Facts? But anyway, I was wondering, if somebody could set up, maybe if it's legal, xjw.org, and then set up where we have, on there a lot of copies of documents and literature that quotes certain things. I don't know if it would be possible, but
I'd want a lawyer. I'd want a lawyer on that one.
Yeah, because you could get sued. Yeah.
It's so close.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, but I truly like the idea of doing it.
Or maybe something like apostate.com or something.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Stay away from the JW,
Well, I was thinking JW apostate because there's other apostates. There's other apostates in other religions. But JW apostate. Maybe .org. Maybe .org.
Jane Doe.
Yeah.
There's a point that came up as to really who is an apostate and who isn't. Frankly, I think the governing body is the apostate. But we're not. I do not really view myself as an apostate. And I told my son-in-law that really his name, and I told him we're really heretics. In other words, we may still be. This is very interesting. We may still be what we are, but our view is to just be more concerned about what's right.
Yeah.
In other words, it's more positive than it is negative.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, well, thank you, Fran and Joe. It's nice to hear from you tonight. I'll let you go, and I'll be calling you.
Thank you.
We
look forward to anyone who
Christine.
Okay, Christine.
Yes.
Look forward to talking with you.
Thank you.
We're open.
Yeah, I'm looking here on my YouTube comments here, guys, and they like your cookies. But one guy wrote in here and he's saying that don't eat those cookies, Rick. The CIA might have sent them. No, I know. I know that from Fran and Joe. I feel very comfortable eating anything they would send me. So that's good. Oh my goodness. So that's wonderful. Well, thank you guys for sending those cookies. And if anyone wants to get in touch with Fran and Joe, email me at jwworldnews. I'll put you in touch with them. And if you had these cookies, you would say, they're really good. And I'm not trying to be a salesman for them, but I'll tell you what. And I'm sure they're not going to make fortunes on the cookies, believe me. But it's good. Yes.
Michael again.
Yes, Michael.
Hey, I was just wondering if I talk to Fran and Joe.
Sure.
I am going to be on another radio show, Fran and Joe, in the middle of January. It's a big station just outside of Columbus, Ohio here. Would you be interested into where I could call you or have the station call you and we could come up with a little skit of what you want to say?
Yeah, I think
it'll work out. Would you be interested in that?
Certainly open for it, Michael. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll contact Rick and get the number for you, and we'll stay in contact.
Great.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'd like to talk with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And hey, Rick's a great salesman, isn't he? I want to buy some cookies right now. I don't care how much they cost. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Well, say, don't we have fun here? We can have fun too. You know, on Saturday night, sometimes people have always, well, the 6 screens is too, they get too deep into things. But, we can have fun too. We can talk about cookies. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's good. We can have some fun here. And I'll tell you what, next week we're going to have was it next week? Yeah, I think we'll be getting close to Christmas, but we're going to have a Christmas program. Oh, yeah, we're going to have prizes. We're going to play music. We're going to play games. So we got the Christmas program coming up in the next week or so. I think it'll be next week. Let me just check the calendar here. I'm not sure. We'll be on the 10th. Well, let's see. So we got the 10th here now. So, yeah, it'll be, next week. Well, actually, Christmas is, we'll do it on Christmas on the 24th. So on the 24th, 2 weeks from tonight, we'll have our Christmas special. I'm just looking at that. We got nice songs we'll play, and everyone's going to have a good time. So we're looking forward to that. Well, my goodness, we had a great program tonight. We got Jimmy Bell. He's coming up next. The big picture. Jimmy hasn't been on for about 2 months, but he's been doing his research. He's coming back with us tonight. He's going to be talking about the New World Order. And, of course, he always brings up comments about the Jehovah's Witnesses as well. We are entering a new era of time, and Jimmy is going to speak to us about that tonight. Well, Joe and Fran, thank you very much for coming on and sharing those thoughts with us. I really appreciate it. And you guys are doing a wonderful job. Keep waving that flag of victory. Well, anyways, my goodness gracious, friends, we're coming to the end of a program. We hate to do it. I really, really do. I hate it when we have to end our programming, but we have a new program coming up next. Not new, but Jimmy hasn't been on for a while. But boy, I'll tell you what, I'm so pleased to see all these new people calling into the 6 screens. My goodness, it's just, I'll tell you, it hasn't always been this way. It hasn't really. When we first started out, there wasn't many people. There really wasn't. But now we have so many people leaving the Watchtower and coming into the 6 screens and speaking up and talking. Don't you find it interesting? I do. I mean, not just because we kind of sponsor the program here, but I find it, boy, I'll tell you what, I need help too. We've all been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. So when I hear people calling in and reinforcing my thoughts and talking about how evil the Watchtower is, that really radiates confidence. It really does. It makes me really know that, we have all been trapped to some degree, but we're working through it now in an organization that really tried to take total control of our mind. They rented space in our heads, but we have evicted them. We now can move forward. We now can have all the confidence in the world, and we can live a life of freedom. That's something we could not live when we were in the Watchtower. Well, we have got just a few minutes here left. If there's anybody tonight that would like to speak up before we leave our program, we got a few minutes. If you'd like to speak up and say hello to us and let us know what you think, go ahead. You're on with us, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to say that to add to about the apostate cookies, and you brought up stickers.
Yeah.
And the guy who does that, I don't know his name or if it's a man or a woman, but it's stand if you are able. And I'm a part of it. I shouldn't incriminate myself, but I have seen stickers placed all over where Jehovah's Witnesses set up their carts in Tennessee and other places too. And one day I was driving by, and I know where they were set up, and I saw somebody, and they had it was near a guitar store, and they were walking to, there was a couple of the kids, and they were a family, they were walking to the guitar store, and they looked. I was right at the light with them, and they looked at the sticker and they pointed at it and read it, and it said Jehovah's Witnesses protect pedophiles. And it may be strong talk, but it gets to the point and people realize what they, people see it. It does happen, and it's working, and it's effective, and I think it's important for us to support anybody that does anything like that.
Well, yes. In fact, I know I go on Reddit a lot, that subreddit ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and for some reason they banned him, I guess, evidently in there, because he was trying to let people know he has these stickers. But maybe we can get him on the program here. I'm not going to ban him. I'd love to have him come on and talk about it, because
it's great to have him on the program. I'd love to hear from him. I'm appreciative from what I got from him, and it's been powerful. I had an elder approach me, and he thought maybe I was the one that did it, and I did not admit to it. And we got into it, and he pulled me aside. And I told him, well, the sticker kind of makes sense. Doesn't it say, like, it says that Jehovah's Witnesses protect pedophiles. I was hurt by this organization, so it makes sense to me. And I picked his brain, and he ended up telling me, in his own way, that they do protect pedophiles, because he told me that they don't have to report it. And he said, we don't have the right to report it. And I said, well, some states you do, but what about the moral right? And that's the key. They lost their moral right. They listened to the elders book, the Shepherd the Flock of God book, and they've lost their morality in a way.
Yeah, you got it. Well, thank you for bringing that up. In fact, if you're listening,
thank you for listening. Yeah.
Yeah, no. In fact, if JW sticker guy,
Great show, brother. I'm from East Providence, Rhode Island, and there's a reason why there's a lot of apostates in New England, because we don't put up with bullshit.
Well, you got it. So I'm glad you're listening in. But if
Have a great night, brother.
if we have brother Sticker listening in tonight, JW Sticker, by all means, get a hold of me at jwworldnews@gmail.com, and we'll get you. I want to get you on the program. I'm not going to ban you. I want to get some of those stickers myself. So why don't you give us check in my email, and we can get you.
If you are able.
Yeah, if he's yeah. Thank you. That'd be wonderful. We get Sticker Man on. Yeah, wonderful. All right. So, anyways, we got Jimmy Bell. He's coming up next here on the 6 screens. Boy, I'll tell you what. I hate it when the program's over. I have so much fun. It's like, oh, my company's leaving, the party's over, but we got another party starting up next. We got Jimmy Bell and company. They're coming in tonight, and they're going to have a great program as well. Now, what it is Jimmy Bell and his company, they do the research. Something's going on in this country. Something's going on in the Watchtower. There's a big change coming. I'm beginning to think that your liberty, your freedom, it's going to be taken away from you. And Jimmy and his researchers will be able to tell us more about that tonight. So we're looking forward to that. But friends, I want to thank you all for coming into the 6 screens tonight. And now, don't you guys ever give in. Don't you ever give up or out. Keep waving that flag of victory. And the last one leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. Jimmy Bell next. We'll see you in just a short while. Jimmy will not be on YouTube, but we do have him on a number of other platforms, on Facebook and a number of other platform groups. So you can listen in on telephone line, or if you want to listen to Jimmy and you're wondering how to do it, go to 6screensofthewatchtower.com and scroll down to where it says Video Suite. Hit that link, put a fictitious name in or your real name, and you can actually watch him there and listen to him. So why don't you do that? So thank you very much for coming in, and all those commented. I give you double kudos here tonight. Thank you very much. We're going to go now live to Jimmy. So we're going to end this program right now. So let's just, let me just stop the other program that we had going here, JW World News. I got to be careful here that I hit the right, buttons, because you could really have some issues going on. So I got a number of platforms going at once. So we're going to end this broadcast right here. Jimmy Bell next. Stay with us.